Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be going over the new Scourge League for Path of Exile, going over basically what's new, what's the league mechanic, and just a brief summary of what has been revealed, not only via Reddit, but also over on their Twitter. They've been just showing off a bunch of newer stuff that wasn't in the live stream. So basically what it comes down to in terms of league mechanics and what to be expected to see in this next league. So I'm just going to go over this real fast. Basically, how the leak mechanic works is you kill a bunch of stuff, this thing fills up with blood, and that's going to be your ability to craft onto items. What are you going to be able to craft? We don't know all the modifiers, but here's a brief explanation here. So you're going to get a positive and a negative effect on an item. Some of the negative effects won't really affect you. Like, for example, we see the text in the orange, the Scourge effect. So it will corrupt the items, but we will be able to modify them further, and then we're going to be able to modify corrupted items a lot easier with this new league mechanic as well. So the negative effect would be the plus 29 intelligence requirement, but we get an additional damage added to it. Now we can upgrade the Scourge tier of an item. I believe up to 3 right now is what I've seen. I don't know what the max limit is. I don't know if they've specified that. But now we can see it into tier 2. We have a completely different effect. So when you modify the item, it will completely change the effect when you go into another tier. So before, like we previously had the intelligence as a negative effect, as a requirement, but we got additional physical damage. Now we're getting increased impale effect, but negative fire resistance. So there is a give and a take with this, but obviously you try to spec out your character so you don't really receive the downsides of the effects. Next up, I briefly want to go over some of the newer skills that were shown off. I'd rather show gameplay than just like read the text on exactly what it does, but some of them we will kind of have to read the text, otherwise it won't really make sense. But keep in mind, all of these things are subject to change. There's apparently a vampiric link. This one we don't have info on. They haven't actually showed this one off yet. But in addition to the whole ability with the new league mechanic of killing monsters, and as you kill more, it's going to get harder. We're going to be able to get this Scourge tier, right? So with this mechanic, in addition to being able to modify our items, I don't think we can modify gems, but there are other things that we can upgrade to modify more things potentially. So you can see one of the upgrades for this allows us to have, like, there's an alternate history one that I really am interested in. The Blood Crucible can transform unique items. So that's going to make it so people that normally like don't really want to mess around with crafting, they have like their set uniques to go to, you can still get a huge benefit from this new league mechanic. There's also different modifiers for the items. I want to actually go over all of these. I don't think we've had the full thing shown off yet. Like, we don't know every single one. Now this one over here makes it so you get to absorb 5% more corruption on jewelry, so that's gonna, I believe, let you reach the next tier faster when you're upgrading. We see armor items absorb 25% more corruption. This is maxed out, so you're gonna have to put multiple points into this as like another skill tree over here. Then we have murderous desecration, where weapons and quivers absorb more corruption. So again, it's just gonna make your progression faster for whatever thing that you want. And then we have Stitch Wounds. We have a 2% chance to, when transforming, to add a link between 2 unlinked sockets. So this could be huge. If you have like a 5 linked item, I'm assuming this is how it works. It's just a 10% chance when you max it out, because it looks like there's 5 points that we can put in. It looks like there's, you know, it goes up by 2% every single time. 10% chance on every single tier when we get a next rank of it. That could be pretty good. So it's like a, if you want to think of it, if we can go up to 3 tiers, keep in mind, I'm not sure what the max tier is. I mean, that could potentially be rolling it 3 times for a 10% chance at a 6th link. That's pretty cool. So yeah, if you want to think of it, if you want to add it together, that's like 30-ish% chance if you're adding 10% each time, even though that's not the correct way it would work in the game, but you get the idea that it's just a better chance to get a 6th link, especially with some of the unique items. That could be great, and then we can modify the unique items too, so this is really cool. But I want to show off the new skills really quick over here. So the first one that we're going to be taking a look at is Energy Blade. This is in like the full live stream that they did. But I'm just going to show you guys like all the new skills really quick, because it's kind of like a quick version of like the entire live stream, plus showing off some of the new stuff that was found out and stuff that they tweeted out. So this is the Energy Blade. It kind of looks like Spectral Throw. You basically get to make a blade, though. Next one is actually going to be Temporal Rift, which lets you kind of go back in time. If you guys play like Overwatch, it kind of reminds me of like Tracer's ability, where you're able to go back in time, and it's going to change your life, mana, and energy shield shield to the value it was in the previous time that you activated it. So this could be really big. They mentioned like forbidden rights, like you can basically spam it, you're really low on HP, you activate it, bam, you're back to full HP, or even like full mana. But maybe like those builds that are like kind of weird that would do these really weird things to one-shot bosses, you might be able to do some weird things with this, like you get all of your buffs, pop them once. I'm not sure if it's going to work with charges. That would be interesting if you could like expend all your charges, then activate it, go back, then go for a big damage hit again. Mostly again for like those weird builds that would like one-shot bosses, could be very interesting as well. Next up though, this is Tornado. This is the one that I'm actually the most interested in messing around with. So what it does, it's a spell, you throw down a tornado and then you put as much damage as you possibly can. You got 2 seconds to do that, and then there's 4 seconds of it doing damage every 0.25 seconds. And you can only have one tornado though, that's the huge downside to it. So it's basically you activate it, and then you slam a bunch of stuff into it, so then you can do more damage. Potentially against bosses, this would kind of be good on those boss phases where like they're invulnerable, like you can't do damage to them. You summon a tornado, do as much damage as possible, then the boss is like in his phase where you can hit them, and then the tornado just melts him. So I'm really interested in that over like anything. Not really sure if there's going to be a way to get more tornadoes, or if you activate another tornado, if that's going to reset the current tornado. That's what I'm most interested in, because I want to do like Asno's Chant or Maloney's Mechanism. Somehow to auto cast on a bow would be really cool. This is another newer skill. This is Poisonous Concoction over here. It's kind of like the elemental one we have, but it's for poison. And then it uses life flasks instead of like the other like flasks that were consumed with the other concoction that we had last league. So that's kind of cool too. I'm not really interested in too much in that one, but now there's a bunch of different link gems. This one I would kind of need to read to explain it, but basically what happens is you're linking yourself. This is kind of for people that were interested in more of like an aura bot playstyle, where you're just like buffing up one person, so you can buff up one of the other players, but if they die, you also die, which is really cool too. So it makes it so you actually have to pay attention, and you can't just like basically absorb all the damage, or have them absorb all the damage while you kind of sit back and not have to worry. There's a few different ones that will link. Some of them will give them extra damage. Some of them will basically help in other departments. Now, if you want to read all of them, I will actually link this. This is the PoE DBTW. They have all of the gem stats, but keep in mind these almost always change, like literally day one. So we have the Energy Blade, Tornado, the Temporal Rift, Poisonous Concoction, and then we have several of the link ones. So this one makes it so 30% of the damage from hits against target is taken from your energy shield before them. So that's what that one does. Then we have the Protective Link, where the chance to block is equal to yours, and the target's maximum chance to block attack damage is equal to yours. So again, it's just like kind of like a buff area. Now, I'm not sure if you can have multiple, because it says maximum 1 link from any source per target if you die, if linked target dies, which is what I mentioned before. So again, it's going to be interesting. There's a vampiric one, but we don't have it shown off yet because it's just kind of grayed out. So I guess that one hasn't been revealed, but they just found out the name of it. And then we have Flame Link over here, which just adds some flat extra fire damage, and they also gain fire damage equal to 5% of your maximum life, so it encourages you to scale your stats as well. And then there's a Destructive Link, which makes it so it has increased critical strike multi and chance, so you can start scaling insane amount of critical strike chance. Like you can run the Ungol's Amulet, which gives you insane amount of crit strike, but at the same time you can't deal any critical strikes, like the crit strike damage, but you get increased crit strike chance. So there's again more ideas for creativity with that, and I like that. But that's that. Now I want to go into the uniques that were shown off. There's supposed to be 6 uniques, and at the moment they've already revealed 5 of them, so it's really cool. So the first one is going to be the Hydra Skull Gauntlets. The only important thing really here is the nearby enemies killed by anyone count as being killed by you instead. So if this works with like minions and stuff, this could be really big for minion builds. Off the top of my head, I think it was Badger, another content creator, was like, yeah, this would be good with it, which lets you add animate weapon on kill, and it'll give you double it. So that could be pretty cool. And then you could literally have the ability to just have your minions kill things, and then you'd get all these extra animate weapons. And then if you overcast, if they count as being like dead, because that worked with like totems before, there could be a lot of interesting things that people can do with nearby enemies killed. If they are counted as being killed by you. You can do a lot of just weird things with it. So I'm curious to see what creativity and what kind of crazy things people come up with this. Next up is the Mage Blood Heavy Belt. This is the one that a lot of people are talking about, potentially even replacing Headhunter for some builds because it's pretty good. It's the leftmost 4 magic utility flasks can constantly be applied their flask effects to you. So you don't even have to consume them. You just get the effect of it. Now I'm curious to know, does that also count when you enchant them with like increased effect, but let's say reduced duration? Because that could be really, really big for all the flasks that basically got nerfed. This could be a huge buff in that department, and if it's just always active, this is going to be super great for bosses, as a lot of builds won't have abilities to gain, you know, flash charges during bosses. Yeah, like I said, this is going to be pretty dang good, and the stats are like okay on it. Gives you 25 to 2 different resistances, and then on top of that, you gain the extra dex stats. Now this one I'm actually more interested in is the Stasis Prison Carnal Armor. So I'm not sure what the actual stats. Okay, here we go. Now we can see the stats. So it's got like some evasion rating, some energy shield, but the thing that's most important with this one, it does give 100 life, which is definitely nice. Temporal Rift has no res, and then the 100% of damage taken recouped as life and debuffs expire on you 100% faster. I don't know if you guys feel like you get slowed down by so many different mechanics or just any debuff, really. That's 100% faster. That's pretty nice. But that 100% of damage taken is recouped as life. So as far as recoup goes, if you look at like the, at least PoE wiki, there are some other modifiers that you can get, like damage recouped as whatever, as a percent. But there's not like 100%. We have Maw Conquest that gives us 20% of damage taken recouped as life. If we have that plus this new thing, we get to heal for more damage than we took in the first place. And as long as that's constantly activated, what this means, as far as I'm aware of, I'm not sure if anything can change this recoup, but it's over 4 seconds. So as long as you take the damage and you're not dying within that 4-second threshold, you're going to be able to regen all of it. But my question is, how is that going to work with like Petrified Blood? I think that'd be a really interesting mix-up to do with like the recouped as life with the Stasis Prison Carnal Armor. This is something I'm really looking forward to kind of testing out, especially if you also mix it in with a Forbidden Taste that has the enchantment, specifically the use when you take a savage hit, which would be really, really good because that would make it so if you're taking a big amount of damage, you'll just regen it, and then you'll also have that additional regen buffer. I think that that could be really, really good. Again, you'd heal for more damage than you even took. I'm not sure if you can even do that. Like, I don't know if it's code in the game where you can't get over 100%, but again, I like theory crafting. This is going to be a good thing to kind of test out to see if this is going to be like a viable option. I just really like this too. This is just nice. Next up though, we have the Strangle Gasp Onyx Amulet. This is really, really cool, but it's probably going to be difficult to get. So you can have 3 additional enchantments. More than likely people will corrupt it because all attributes is not bad at all, but having 3 additional enchantment modifiers, oh my gosh, that is going to be insane for anyone that's getting any like, you know, power charges, frenzy charges, or any charges just in general. You will really be able to just grab all of those and you'll be good to go. You'll have a lot of attribute points saved with this addition of this amulet, but it's probably going to be expensive. Next up, we have the Ol Netnel's Vow. This grants you the ability to have socketed non-exceptional support gems can also support skills, so effectively just giving yourself potentially a 7-link on a 6-link armor. And its other stats are great. It's 32 a bunch of the resistances and then extra chaos res at 23. I think this is going to be fun too, just in case anybody's like really weird builds and you just need that extra socket. This could be it, potentially. Cool stuff indeed. But yeah, I'm really excited to try Petrified Blood, Forbidden Taste, and then again, use when you take a savage hit. Another thing that was shown off, this was recently shown off on Twitter with Chaos Mastery over here. So they're changing up the skill tree a little bit. This is another newer thing that they're adding into the game where you get to put in your skill points, but then there's like a mastery that you get to put into very specific areas on like, I guess, areas of the tree, and you get to pick one of these by putting another skill point into like the little like cluster. It's probably going to make way more sense in the game because I kind of want to see how it works, but this one's pretty cool. You get 1% to chaos damage over time multiplier per chaos resistance, so it's scaling defenses and getting extra damage. That's pretty cool that they're going to be able to add that into the game. Other new keystones, we got the Iron Will, where strength damage applies to all spell damage as well, and we already went over this. And there's a couple of newer things like different div cards. There's a Sacred Orb, which we went over. It changes the base numerical stats on the armor. It's not necessarily like quality, it's kind of like another additional 10 to 20% depending on what the item is, but this is apparently going to be pretty rare to actually get. But on top of that, they made it so like Delve is going to let you start off at basically a much farther progression versus like having to grind all of it, so that's kind of nice. There's also a new synthesis div card. You can actually throw in multiple of the timeless emblems and actually get an even stronger fight, which is going to be insane. And then they're just showing off some like the new like maps that are going to have some of the different modifiers for the Blight Ravaged map. That's, I believe, the only way that you can get the Stringal Onyx Amulet, which they mentioned before in one of their live streams. But a lot of stuff to cover, but that's going to go ahead and just wrap it up for this quick little video because I don't want to overextend it. But I'm really curious to know what you guys plan to play. So far, this is what I actually personally plan to play. I want to play with the Tornado skill. Where is it? I think it was after Energy Blade they showed it off. I want to play with the new Tornado skill, and I probably will do some type of like Hydrosphere with it to see if that also procs the like damage on it. They said that you can actually add different elements to the Tornado. It didn't. Does it specify? It'll just chase down, and it says that it's taking damage from your projectile, so you could technically use it maybe with like Eye of Winter, because that thing throws out so many projectiles. But it does have a maximum. I believe it was what is it, 20? I don't know if it specifies in here, but I think it was in some other post, where it can only absorb so many. Like, you can't just slam infinite damage into it during the 2 seconds. I believe it was 20. I mean, this one doesn't specify. Maybe, I mean, if they don't have a limit on how much damage you can do to this, you could do some super crazy stuff with some bosses, like, because it's going to do, oh wait, this one changes the damage. Before it said 10%. Did they change it already on, like, the... let's see what it says on the DB over here. So this one says 10%. Yeah, like I said, these numbers, keep in mind when they like first reveal the skills, these change all the time. But does this one say you can only have 20? Okay, here's the one where it says 20 times. Okay, yeah, because if it was infinite amount of like damage you can output on it, oh my gosh, that'd be insane. With like, if you just Hydrosphere and you have like, you know, chain on your Hydrosphere with like, I don't know, Tornado Shot. I'm thinking about doing Tornado Shot, which I'm probably going to activate it by like Asanas Chant, the helmet, and then maybe even Maloney's Mechanism to proc that like another spell on top of that. Or is it like I think it might be the replica one. Anyways, it's when you like, it can just like activate socketed spell or whatever. So I'm wondering if I need to even scale the spell damage in general, but like you said, this is going to be very fun to play, and this is what I plan to play. And I'm going to wonder, because it's dealing damage as though it was an enemy, does that mean that your Mirage Archer can attack it? Does that mean your turrets can attack it? I mean, it does have that 20 times. Does that mean 20 times... I don't know if your allies can hit it also 20 times, or does that count towards it? There's just so many things that I want to know with it, but this is definitely what I'm going to be playing next league, if you guys are wondering. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're definitely going to try that, and then we're going to try the Petrified Blood with the Stasis Carnal Armor with maybe we will also throw in that like Maw with that Recoup, and just we'll heal for more damage than we take, which will be fun. But anyways, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for the video. Let me know, guys, what your thoughts are on this league. It's looking pretty fun. I really like this idea of having the ability to not only have like a new skill tree for this league mechanic, but I'm so glad that we can do unique modifiers on an item, because a tier 3 modifier can be really, really big potentially. They didn't really show off that many, but yeah, I'm excited about it. Anyways, ranted long enough. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it if you want to see more Path of Exile stuff in the future, as we do plan to make a like full walkthrough guide for the next league, and I'm just really curious to see all these different like ways to put in skill points. They're changing the passive tree again, which is normal with like every league. But anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one. And if you're new here and do want to see more stuff, hit subscribe, turn the bell, and you'll see more of the Path of Exile content very soon on the 22nd, which is when the NU league happens. I'll catch you guys next vid. I'm out. Peace.